Namaste, welcome, and aloha. Welcome to verse 11 of chapter 1 of Canto 1. Essential knowledge, finding the essence in the ocean of information. In the previous verse, we learned about the challenges of Kali Yuga short lifespan, fragmented attention, constant disturbance. Now, the sages asked the most practical question. Given these limitations, what should we focus on? What is essential? Titled Essential Knowledge. This verse addresses a challenge that's more relevant today than ever before. In an ocean of information, what truly matters? This is not about learning everything, this is about learning what's essential. Let us explore this liberating teaching. First, let us recite the verse in its original Sanskrit. Burini buri karmani shrotavyani vibhagasha. अतः साधोत्र यत्सारं समुद्धृत्य मनीष्या ब्रूहि भद्राय भूतानां येनात्मा suprasidati. These words ask for the essence, the essential truth that satisfies the soul. Let us understand what they reveal. Now, let us go through the raw form of English translation of the verse. The translation. O saintly one, the scriptures contain countless deeds and topics that must be heard in elaborate detail. Therefore, please use your keen intelligence to extract the essential truth of all these narratives and speak it for the ultimate welfare of all living beings, so that the soul may become completely and perfectly satisfied. This is a request for essence, for what truly matters. Let us explore what this means. Now, let us look at some core teaching of this verse. This verse addresses a fundamental challenge, the vastness of knowledge. The sages acknowledge Burini, Buri Karmani, there are countless deeds and activities described in the scriptures. Shrotavyani Vibhagasha, topics that must be heard in elaborate detail, with all their divisions and subdivisions. The Vedic literature is vast. The Mahabharata alone is longer than the Iliad and Odyssey combined. The Puranas contain millions of verses. Yes. The philosophical texts are profound and complex. And this was thousands of years ago, before the internet, before libraries, before the information explosion. The challenge then was vast knowledge. The challenge now is infinite information. So the sages ask, Ata sadhotra yat saran, O saintly one. What is the essence here? Samutritya Manishaya, please extract it with your keen intelligence. The word saram is crucial. It means essence, core, substance, like the pith of a tree, like the marrow of bone, the essential part that contains the nourishment, and why extract the essence. Bruhi bhadraya bhutanam, speak it for the welfare of all living beings. Yanatma suprasidati, so that the soul may become completely satisfied. This is the key. The essence is what truly satisfies the soul. Not what's interesting, not what's entertaining, not what's impressive, but what actually satisfies the deepest part of our being. This verse teaches in an ocean of knowledge, we need the essence. We need what truly matters. We need what satisfies the soul. And this requires intelligence manisaya, the ability to discern what's essential from what's peripheral. Now let us look at some modern scientific parallels. This ancient request for essential knowledge corresponds to modern principles of learning and information management. First, consider the Pareto principle, the 80 over 20 rule. In most domains, 20% of the knowledge produces 80% of the results. 20% of the concepts enable 80% of the understanding. This is what the sages are asking for. What's the 20% that matters most? Not everything is equally important. Some knowledge is foundational, some is derivative. Second, consider first principles thinking, a method used by scientists and innovators. First principles thinking means breaking down complex problems to their fundamental truths. What are the core principles What are the essential building blocks? This is saram, the essence, the fundamental truth from which everything else derives. Third, consider the concept of core curriculum in education. What knowledge is essential for every educated person? What must everyone know regardless of their specialization? This is the question the sages are asking. What is the core curriculum for the soul? Fourth, consider information overload in the digital age. We have more information available than any generation in history. But we don't have more time. We don't have more attention. In Kali Yuga, with short lifespan and fragmented attention, we need essence more than ever. The verse spoken thousands of years ago addresses our contemporary challenge. How do we find what truly matters in a notion of information? Let us now move on to some practical application as it relates to this verse. How do we apply this teaching in our daily lives? First, recognize that you cannot learn everything and you don't need to. This is liberating. You're not failing because you haven't read every book or learned every subject. That was never the goal. The goal is to learn what's essential, to find the saram, the essence. Second, focus on foundational knowledge that enables learning everything else. Some knowledge is generative, it unlocks other knowledge, it provides mental models that apply across domains. This is what to prioritize. Not trivia, not facts you can look up, but principles that enable understanding. Third, distinguish between information and wisdom. Information is abundant, wisdom is rare. Information tells you what happened, wisdom tells you what it means. Information is data, wisdom is understanding. Seek wisdom, not just information. Fourth, prioritize understanding principles over memorizing facts. Facts change, principles endure. Facts are specific, principles are universal. If you understand the principle, you can derive the facts. If you only memorize facts, you're lost when circumstances change. Fifth, ask the essential question. Does this satisfy my soul? Not is this interesting, not is this impressive, but does this bring deep satisfaction? The verse says, Yanatma suprasidati, so that the soul becomes completely satisfied. This is the criterion for essential knowledge. Does it satisfy the deepest part of your being? Sixth, develop discernment, manishaya, the intelligence to distinguish essence from periphery. This is a skill, this is a practice. You get better at it over time, but you must consciously cultivate it. Don't just consume everything, actively discern what matters. Now, let us look at how this verse can help our young people. For young people, this verse offers a powerful framework. You're growing up in an age of infinite content, infinite courses, infinite information, infinite options. This can feel overwhelming. Where do you even start? Here's the liberating truth: you don't need to learn everything, you need to learn what's essential. Think about video games. When you understand the core mechanics, the fundamental systems, you can master any game in that genre. The same is true for knowledge. Certain foundational concepts unlock everything else. Focus on mental models, not trivia. Focus on principles, not facts. Focus on what enables understanding, not what impresses others. Ask yourself, what knowledge is generative? What unlocks other knowledge? That's what to prioritize. That's the essence. Now, let us look at how this verse can help our older generation folks. For those with more life experience, this verse offers profound wisdom. You've lived long enough to see trends come and go, you've accumulated knowledge, you've learned many things, but here's what experience teaches: wisdom is knowing what to ignore. In an age of infinite information, discernment about what truly matters is the highest skill. You don't need to keep up with everything. You don't need to consume every new trend or technology. What you need is clarity about essence, what truly satisfies the soul. what truly matters. This is the wisdom you can offer younger generations. Not everything that's available deserves your attention. Be ruthlessly selective. Focus on what's timeless, focus on what's fundamental, focus on what brings deep satisfaction. That's the essence. That's what matters. In conclusion, we can say verse Canto 1, chapter 1, verse 11 of the Srimad Bhagavatam asks the essential question: in an ocean of knowledge, what is the essence? What truly matters? What satisfies the soul? This is not about learning everything. This is about learning what's essential. Not all knowledge is equal. Some is foundational, some is peripheral. Develop the intelligence to discern the difference. Focus on principles, not trivia. Seek wisdom, not just information. Ask yourself, does this satisfy my soul? That's the criterion for essential knowledge. Thank you for exploring Canto 1, Chapter 1, Verse 11 with me. Thank you, Namaste, and Mahalo for joining me in this exploration of Canto 1, Chapter 1, Verse 11. Essential knowledge, finding the essence in the ocean of information. Next, we will move on to verse 12 of Chapter 1 of Canto 1.